Before we get into today's video, as some of you may know, the IMNerdpodcast is hosting an Edison tournament on October 28th called the Frozen Soul Cup. There will be a special rule in place that you can only use one of each card in your deck. For example, you would only be able to play one Treeborn Frog or one Elemental Hero Neos Alias or one Blackwing Blues at the Far North. Everything is limited to one. This greatly changes deck building and technical play, but I will let you guys figure that part out. The prize for this tournament is already up to $300 cash for the top cut. If you would like to donate to the prize pool, please reach out to me. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. All right, welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a really good friend of mine, and actually somebody who's in a lot of our group chats and stuff. Friends with Stango, a true hero. OG is here, and he is a Vayu Turbo player who recently topped back-to-back events. So we have up here his top 16 deck, Vayu Turbo from the EWCQ02, and we also have his deck list here from Deck Devastators 5. So you top 16 both these tournaments, right? And your list changed very slightly, it looks like, between them. So I guess let's start with the first one. So this was back in August, and you main decked a copy of Deck Devastation Virus and also main decked two compulsories at that. What was your logic behind the way you built your Vayu Turbo deck? Because this is not the standard list at this point. Everyone knows kind of the 10-foot list that is tried and true and it works. And so whenever somebody, changes the formula up a little bit, I'm always curious about that. So what was your logic behind this list?
Hey, I'm OG. I'm a longtime fan of Frazier and Kenny's content. It's great to be here. As for this list, I had a strong feeling that Bottomless was just not that good anymore. Because all ups to zeros running around, all these synchros running around. Sometimes Stardust is really annoying for this deck to deal with.
Yeah,
With
I agree.
Raikos, like Dusty Heroes, Mirror Force, and then 2500 is a really strong stat line because a lot of you guys that come out are Kai's, for example, is 2400. Vayu, the armed wing is 2300, and then even if you make a armor master, it crashes with Stardust. It's just sometimes not that great.
Yeah, that's not great.
And then Stardust backed by Mirror Force of Deep Prison makes Dark Arm irrelevant. As for deck devastation fighters, I think it's a really strong main deck card. I don't think it's a strong side deck card. As opposed to a lot of people's opinion, because a lot of cards you want to hit, a lot of people actually side them out.
Yep. I've been preaching this on the channel a lot, in that I think Deck Devastation Virus is actually stronger in game 1 than it is games 2 and 3. Like, I'm a Frog player, and Deck Devastation Virus, full disclosure, is not going to hit me as hard as you think it will after game 1. I obviously side out a lot of the cards that can be hit. And the same is true with other decks that normally die to Deck Devastation Virus, like Fairies. I know a lot of the Fairy players, they tend to side out as much of their cards that would get hit by Deck Devi. Like Herald of Orange Light, they don't really need that against a lot of decks that would side in Deck Devi. So sometimes they'll side that out, and other cards that just, lower stat line, that way they can put in things like Breaker the Magical Warrior, Thunder King Ryo, or whatever, right? So a lot of the decks, blatantly games 2 and 3, when they know you're siding in deck Devi, they will side out low stat monsters to play around it. So it does get worse. Like, that is a part of Edison format, is knowing what your opponent's going to put in against you, and then you kind of doing a countermeasure so that it doesn't affect you as much. So it sounds like you're saying the same thing there, right?
Yep, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was my logic going in for this deck, for this event, for those options.
Yeah.
Uh,
The rest of the main deck looks pretty solid in terms of you're playing the Reaper, you're not playing Necrogardner here.
Yep.
You play double oppression in this build because you're not playing Chaos Sorcerer, you're not playing Return. What are your thoughts on the Chaos Sorcerer and Return build that plays Charge of the Light Brigade? That build has been recently popping up. People like that one a lot. What are your thoughts on that?
So I actually entered another event with the Chaos Sorcerer and Return build. A lot of times I opened with Chaos Sorcerer and Return, or one of either, and it just sits there without doing anything.
Yeah.
Because your only lights for the deck are Raikos, and for that version, and there's also Cyber Dragon, but that's 4 copies.
Yeah.
That's just not enough to facilitate it for Chaos Sorcerer. And then by the time you actually do summon it, the game's so late. It just doesn't even matter because it becomes a late game card when the late game cards are Absolute Zeros, other
Right, like
like
Stardust
Monarchs,
Dragons are out by
Stardust
then.
Dragons,
Yeah.
all those cards. Just like to just deal with the Chaos Sorcerer. Like okay,
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna go Mirror Confusion another Absolute Zero. Go ahead.
right. The other thing I was going to say is when we say Stardust Dragon too, because a lot of people know how to play around things like Chaos Sorcerer with Stardust. So if somebody summons Chaos Sorcerer, they go priority or whatever, banish Stardust. You can go chain bottomless and then chain Stardust effect to negate your own bottomless if your opponent doesn't chain anything. And then your Stardust will just come back and kill that Chaos Sorcerer. You see this a lot with Caius as well. It's the same exact thing. You could do the same thing with MST, for example. You could do the same thing with Dust Tornado. You can like use a destruction card and then chain Stardust to it if your opponent doesn't respond. And then your Stardust will negate that card, and on the end phase it'll come back, and now the Caius or Chaos Sorcerer that was threatening it will just be beat over by it. So that is a common thing in Edison format that you'll see in top level gameplay. So yeah, Chaos Sorcerer, I think the card is fine. I think that my reason why I don't really care for it though is more so that those builds tend to not run double oppression. And I personally like double oppression in the Vayu deck because I feel like the reason why the Vayu deck is one of the absolute best decks in the format is because of it being the best royal oppression deck. Once you take away oppression, essentially you're allowing the other decks to special summon a lot, and they're better special summons in those decks than there are in the Vayu Turbo deck. Like essentially you're summoning a 2300 vanilla, whereas the other decks are summoning, like you said, like Absolute Zero, Stardust Dragon, real monsters that have crazy effects. Oppression sets everyone back to the Stone Ages. I want to play a game of just beatdown against you, is what this card says. So my 2300 vanilla, sure, it's not great when you compare it to like a Deep Sea Divas effect or a Substitute or Junk Synchron and all that stuff. But then when you simplify the game state to where no one can special summon and I just have a 2300 guy or a 2500 guy or a 2800 guy, that is actually very effective. So that deck, again, they tend to play one if they play Chaos Sorcerer in return, because then you have like Dark Arm, Plague, Chaos Sorcerer, Return, Cyber Dragon, all these cards that conflict with Oppression. But those cards, a lot of them are not like Cyber Dragon. I'm not a fan. Like I'm just not a fan of Cyber Dragon in the main deck, especially a Vayu Turbo. I know that some people like it, but I think that the deck just does not need Cyber Dragon in the main. I think I want to have oppression against pretty much every other deck except maybe Black Wings. And then obviously in a mirror match, you don't want oppression. So there's like this whole conundrum now where Vayu Turbo is a very popular deck, right? So you're going to play mirror matches, and in a mirror match, oppression sucks. So it's like, do you want a bad game one in a mirror match technically? Not bad, but like you have dead cards. Do you want to have dead cards in a mirror match game one and then just side them out game two, but have a good matchup against everything else in the format, like Frogs, hate oppression, Hero Frog specifically, Light Sworn, Christia Sworn, whatever, any kind of weird like quick draw decks, Zombies hate oppression, of course. I would even say Diva Hero Beat is like oppression's really good against that deck. People are just kind of coping, but it stops 6 of the best cards in that deck, which is 3 Miracle Fusion, 3 Diva, and it makes the deck go back to the regular Hero Beat version, which isn't that effective, and that's the reason why that deck, the regular Hero Beat deck, doesn't perform nearly as well as Diva Hero Beat does, is because it doesn't play Diva, and the Miracle Fusions are just not as easy to get off. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack, but I think overall, the way 10-foot built the deck and the way other people have like modified it with subtle changes, I like that more. I do still want to test at some point. I'll try to play around with like Chaos Sorcerer Return, One Oppression, and all that. But from a conceptual standpoint, I already don't like it. Like I don't want Vayu Turbo trying to play the same game as the other special summon heavy decks. I think that its game plan, where it's like oppression deck, beatdown deck, control deck, is just better than trying to play the, oh, I'm a special summon a bunch of times and I got this Cyber Dragon, I got this Chaos Sorcerer, I got this Return. Like those cards, Return is great. Don't get me wrong, it's a game ending card and all of that, but in your opening hand and like certain points in the game, it's just going to be awful. So I can see that for sure being an issue.
Right, exactly. Because Vayu Turbo in itself is any kind of is an early game, mid game, late game deck, but its best works when it's an early game deck. And like having those cards, it staying in your hand when it's like early game is just not ideal. When you're getting like Raikou to death, you're getting like Stratos beat down to death, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that brings up another good point too. So everyone calls Vayu Turbo the good stuff deck because it's just a pile of cards that are all pretty good. Like Hamster's amazing, Raikou's amazing, Vayu and Sirocco are obviously just some of the best cards in the format. Armageddon Knight, like everything in this deck, Caius, it just plays a ton of amazing cards. And so the hands with this deck are very consistent. They're very good hands overall. It's really hard to draw bad with this deck. And that alone is amazing in Edison format. Like there's a point where consistency stops mattering as much, but I think Vayu has the perfect like balance between consistency and power level, right? Like some decks are super consistent, but then their power level is really weak. For example, Gadgets. Gadgets is a deck that consistently does what it's supposed to do every game. You play nine gadgets, and so every game you're probably going to see a gadget in your opening hand, summon it, and then get your whole +1 train rolling. But then the power level of the gadget deck is low. So it doesn't matter that it's consistent. It's like, yeah, sure, your deck is more consistent than mine. You're going to open up with what you want to open up with more. But is your power level there? I would also argue that Frogs is the deck that has a really consistent opening because it's an 80% chance to open Treeborn Frog. And then you also have the Stratos opening, which is amazing as well because there's 3 of them. So you have the 3 Stratos, or you have 80% Treeborn Frog in the opening hand, which means your opening is really strong. And the reason why Frogs is an S tier deck and one of the best decks is because you're not sacrificing power for consistency. The deck is also extremely powerful. It plays triple Caius and triple Miracle Fusion and all these other cards that are like bombs, right? So it has the power plus consistency. Vayu, I think, also has the power plus consistency, and then Black Wings has the power plus consistency. And these tend to be the best decks in the format. And then you have decks that sacrifice consistency for power level. So then you have Dragon Turbo, which is the most powerful deck in the format overall, but its consistency is an issue, right? So you don't see that. You don't see that deck topping a ton every event or anything like that, but you do see it every once in a while come out of nowhere, and then it'll just like get really deep in a bracket because on that particular day a person is drawing consistently nice hands and the power levels are already above everything. Like if Dragon Turbo just drew consistent hands across the board, this would just be Dragon Turbo format. It would be a dictatorship with that deck. So that might be an entire conversation that we can make a video about or talk about at another time, but I kind of like where it's going. And I think back to the original point about Vayu Turbo and just its power versus consistency, this might be the most perfect deck in terms of those two things being in balance. Like I think that the more I look at the format, it just does it all really, really well. And then the oppression thing just sends it over the edge for me because that card is outrageous. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot convince me that oppression is not absolutely ridiculous. That's my take on it. So let's look at your side deck. The only thing that I really want to call attention to is that you sided Twister at this time. What was that for?
All right, so I'm actually friends with a true hero, and he started playing Decree, and I was so sick and tired of losing to Decree. I just opted to side in Twister because I know that a lot of DB hero players at the time were siding Decree ever since he topped with that list. So I just didn't want to lose to that card, just outright.
Yep. So that was basically that because I want to say that on the next tournament, you took it out of your side deck for the second top you got. So you got top 16 at Deck Devastators 5. Congrats on that as well. Congrats on both of these tops. This is really cool because I've known you for a long time and just seeing you do well in Edison format is amazing. So yeah, congrats on that. Let's see. So this list, what changed? What are the actual? I see that Compulse is not actually okay. So Compulse is in the side deck now. The Bottomless is in the main deck. So you switch back to a more standard trap lineup there.
Right. So I switched to a more standard trap lineup because a lot of decks I was actually running into were Hero B, Blackwing decks. A lot of decks that don't really care as much about Compulse.
Right.
They're not as effective. I also started main decking Gores. I also went down to 1 oppression for this list, because there were so many of those decks I was facing at the time. I felt like I wasn't seeing frogs nearly as much as I thought, which is why that deck had so many cards specifically for frogs.
Right. Your last, let me go back to it. You had like triple pulling the rug and stuff, and now you have 2 pulling the rug, but then you have a needle ceiling, which is like an anti-frog card as well.
Yes. So thinking that, I was like, okay, well, let me just switch up my main deck to be more stronger against those type of decks.
Yeah.
And I feel like Gores is a really, really strong card right now because it's so not expected against Vayu Turbo. They go. The most common play is like they tribute a monster, Kaya's banish, my Raikou attack, willingly. They don't even think, and I summon Gores, and the game just ends right there.
Yeah, that is a really strong thing. I also think that Gores is good against frogs too. That card is one of the cards that I as a frog player, I do not want to see my opponent scores. I hope that that's one of the cards they do not draw. So Vayu Turbo used to be a deck where they didn't play it because everyone was pretty much playing the same list. And now that people like you are starting to, I guess, play Gores, that's actually a really big deal. It's going to make that matchup even harder than it already is. So yeah, Gores is amazing. It's also another one of the good stuff cards in the format. This deck is just playing like so many of the good cards. Dark Arm, Card Trooper, Gale is one of the best normal summons in the format. Reinforcement Army, one of the best cards in the format. Allure Darkness, Burial from a Different Dimension in this deck is absolutely absurd. It's a god card. And then so this time during this top, you still main deck Devi, so you're consistent with that. You like the main deck Devi, and it seems to be working for you.
Yep.
And then you also went down to one oppression and decided the other, which makes sense because you said you were expecting to play like more of these special summon type of decks, like frogs and stuff like that. And instead, you were playing against more Hero Beat and more Black Wings and the mirror match and stuff like that. And I do think that we're at a point where bracket luck matters so much in Edison, like because Black Wings do take up a good chunk of every entry, right? Like you're going to play Black Wings multiple times, usually in the bracket, and you're going to play against Vayu Turbo probably, and also Hero Beat, and those decks all can be very wishy-washy on if oppression is going to be good or not. But then at the same time, you could have a tournament where you play against a lot of decks that are weak to oppression and you just don't know when that's going to happen. So it's like, Edison is still such a complicated format because of how many decks there are and because of how many decks are actually playable and are decent enough to beat you. Like I tell people, even with the whole tier list thing, and you're like, oh, this is an S tier deck and this is an A tier deck. The A tier decks can just still beat you though. It's not like the S tier decks are so much better that you would play against somebody with an A tier deck and say, oh, they're playing rogue. Like no, the Amaryllis deck, the plant deck, like that deck can 100% body any of the S tier decks if it gets the right hands or if the person playing it is really good and like things go their way. But the power level and consistency of the S tier decks is just slightly higher. In an Edison format, the gap isn't as wide between S tier decks, A tier decks, or whatever. It's just not a wide gap. So yeah, oppression, it's like I said, I stand by that card really hard. If I play Vayu Turbo, I would definitely be playing 2 of it, and you did top with 2 of it, and then you went down to 1. And I don't think there's anything like particularly crazy or bad about that. But it just comes down to like, what am I going to play today? Am I going to play against decks that is good against or not?
Right. And if you look at the data that Format Library posts for every single event, you can see that a lot of decks are just either Black Wings, Vayu Turbo, Hero B, like all those decks, and then, like you said, you can't just ignore the A tier decks that are like 1 or 2 people are playing, because if you play them and that player is like 6-0 that day and you're also 6-0, there's a very high chance they're gonna beat you.
Yeah, no, that's very real. Okay, so I'm going to download one of these decks. I think I'm going to go with the first one. I'll just download this one, and then I want to actually play a DB, just get a DB rando game in and have some fun with that. So okay, so we got the deck all into DB now, and we're just going to hop into a game.
All right. And expectations of what you're gonna face against.
Oh, on DB, I don't know if you said you're a fan of the channel, so you know how it is, but the decks that you go against on this website are just all over the place. Like it is not predictable.
What if we face against Magician FTK?
Oh, that would be great. I mean, we went first, so they already are bodied right there. Like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's immediately they're in a bad spot. Oh, I wish I played Necrogard now. Okay. That was good. So I think here I want to allure first and then Rhoda depending on what I draw.
Yep.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, yeah.
Oh baby. That's a good hand.
Yeah, so we have choices now. So I can banish Greffer because I can Rhoda for another Greffer and then I have the value to convert it.
Yep.
So that's gonna be my play here. And then so we have 3 things that we could set. And I think I might just commit everything.
I will commit everything because the open first or future fusion, I'm not trying to deal with that either.
Yeah, I'm gonna commit everything because this stops virtually every bad thing that could happen. Now, every time I say stuff like this, shit tends to go wrong. So we'll see where this goes, but hopefully this is a good hand to stop like anything they might have. And I'm just praying to God that this isn't a frog matchup because that would be the one deck that can like neuter this opening.
All right. The question is, do we solemn the Stratos? if it is a Stratos.
No, I think I would let the Stratos go.
Oh, he didn't even care. He just searched immediately.
Yeah, which is wild because you literally asked me like, "Oh, do you want to?" But I knew he was going to do this, which is like,
This right here is really strong because they're not going to say anything.
yes,
And
and oh my god, yeah, they're gonna get destroyed if they like don't have gores.
even if they do have gores, that's fine.
Yeah, talk about being in a bad spot. Also, just one hamster and like,
Off of just one hamster.
yeah, hamster's so strong.
And
Such
people
a
want to
strong
play
card.
one of that card.
No, I definitely would like to play two. I did see that though. Some people going down to one hamster.
No, no.
Yeah, that's getting oppressed.
Oh, do they have it? Okay.
I mean, I would chain MST if they chained their MST. So that feature fusion was never resolving. He just doesn't know it.
Oh, they're in such a bad spot.
Oh, it's awful.
All right. Is there consideration for a blind MST?
I think I don't. Yeah, I think I want to. Yeah. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that wasn't the best hit, but all right. Hopefully he has like
Okay. It might be worthwhile to search
the
Grepper
Greffer
first
now. Yes, that's
in case
smart.
you randomly mill it.
Yep. No, I like that. I 100% agree with you there. Good catch too. That we should definitely do that before flipping this Ryko because just a chance that it might happen. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to.
Oh, we have to do it too.
Yeah, I'm asking in case you have Solemn.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
Why is this guy so mad? Is it because he's losing? What the hell? All right, anyway. I love when people are dicks, though, because then I get to be a dickhead back. Okay.
All right. Damn.
Okay. So what do we know? Nothing in particular. All right. So we're going to go summon. Yeah, I mean, this is just to play.
Yeah. We're gonna go in. We do not care.
Yeah, no, we never care, not once.
Oh, he even took the damage too? I was like, what? Wait. Is he paying for oppression?
I think so.
I mean, you can. Oh no. Well. Alright, do you sense the rage quit coming?
Oh yeah, this guy is. He's already upset. He is already upset. Okay. Well, he seems to be. All right. I think I'm gonna put Hamster in attack mode too. I'm feeling because I'm gonna Solemn if he had Mirror Force anyway.
Yep.
So, and I have Compulse. So yeah, I'm just gonna go all in. We're just gonna play Super Ignorant. I'm doing this to literally anything. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's back there, but it's probably like a spark or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's back there either. But his alias might be getting solemned.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's either getting solemned or I might compulse, but it might be getting solemned. Because this doesn't do anything. I don't know what this could possibly be. Maybe it's his Solemn Judgment?
Yeah.
If I solemn his alias, he could solemn back, then I could compulse regardless. If I compulse, he could solemn or Gemini Spark. He Gemini Sparks. So let's do this. I wonder if he's okay. I was gonna say, I wonder if he's reading, because the fact that he didn't know like how certain things worked kind of gave me the impression that he might, be a kind of a newer player. This is definitely coming out. This is coming out. We're going second here. What else do you typically side out in this matchup? Do you go down on like your number of oppressions? Because we don't know if he's even playing Diva yet. So maybe this is probably like.
We don't know. Probably cut down on a compulse.
Yes. Oh yeah, this card is definitely not as good in this matchup.
Probably, and then put in bottomless.
You like bottom? Okay. So let me do this first, and then swap.
So looks good to me.
Yeah. So I'm just double checking everything. Yep. I don't think there's anything else that I really particularly want in this matchup. So yeah, we'll just go with this. What's funny is that, like, I'm just assuming that he's playing Diva Hero Beat or whatever, but we didn't really get to see enough of his deck besides Stratos alias. We didn't see a Gemini Spark because he scooped before we got to see it.
Yep. We saw Future Fusion.
We did see Future Fusion though. But yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Oh. Oh my gosh. That's so.
This card super rocks.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Well, didn't mill the greatest, but
no.
If it better be deep prison. Oh baby.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So I can just go set bottomless. Yes.
Yep.
Oh wow. You would just attack here, right?
Yeah. I would just play the attack.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to double check.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yep. Kind of knew that was bound to happen at some point.
I would probably set both Deep Prison and
yes, because I don't care if he has a Gem Spark unless it is the back row already there.
Right.
Yeah.
And and that back row doesn't make me believe it's an MST.
Yeah, I also don't think it's Gem Spark because I bottomlessed him while that was there, right?
Mm-hmm. Deep Prison. If he Gem Sparks, that's fine.
Okay, it actually was Gem Spark.
Wow.
Wait, did he have that back? Maybe he didn't have that back there. There's no way.
Oh. He just didn't want to use it on a... We only had one card set, which was
that's right. I forgot. I literally played around it. That's right.
This is still fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm still waiting to see if he's ever going to summon a water monster.
Right.
There also just hasn't been a Stratos yet. So there's that as well.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to with E-Call, so...
Yeah, he did. He blatantly chose to not. I find it to be very interesting. This matchup is definitely rough.
Yes.
Like going second, they just have natural pluses against you and everything.
Yep.
Oh, there she is. Okay, I was wondering.
All right. Do we mirror force?
This is gonna go into a monster that we can't possibly beat. So I think we have to. And if it's Starlight Road, we just get ruined. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
That's gonna be game. Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. So we officially know that it's Diva Hero beat now.
Yes.
Also, I'm putting. All right. So I'm gonna put this back in. I'm gonna take this out. I actually like oppression against this deck.
Yep.
So I'm just thinking about what I want to take out. I like Mind Crush in this matchup a lot. Is there any monsters that are? Oh, you know what? This guy is not that good in this matchup.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like actually.
I think this looks good.
Yeah, I think this is fine. All right.
All right, he did. Had it all. Okay.
Okay, this is one of those scary value hands. The ones where they can just get like pieced on turn 2. Like if I get Dark Arm off the top, he could just die.
Oh, this is awful for him. Alright, so their hand's not great so far.
I'm summoning Reaper if he just tries to pass on me right now.
Yeah, he's.
I might even go ham because I can special Gruffer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was about to say he needs to commit. Okay. I need to see some commitment from you. All right. So I'll just do this one. That was a good hit. I knew the mills were going to be kind of shit because we have so many monsters in our hand.
Right.
All right. I'm thinking. I still like the summon Reaper play.
Yeah.
That'll elicit a response. Go ahead.
No, it gets under bottomless. It forces him to either mirror force or deprison.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't have either, he's gonna lose honest.
Yeah. I could also go summon Plague, make Stardust, and then special Greffer, pitch Vayu, and then start attacking him with like Greffer plus Armwing, and then leave the Stardust to just sit there.
Yeah.
So what do you? I kind of like that play too, because this
I feel like
yeah. Go ahead.
I feel like we're ahead right now. I don't think we need to push that hard.
Okay. So you want to do conservative? So you just want to do? All right. Let's play it your way. All right. Like, there's no way this walks. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
All right. He needs the Rip Stratos to even have any shot of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna need he's gonna need a Stratos off the top immediately. Oh, he took 500.
He took 500. Yeah. So
Okay.
and
Yeah, I mean that's our turn, right? We don't have anything
yep.
else to do.
Hmm.
Reaper's also so good against his deck in general too. Like,
Yeah. If it walks, it's
I'm
crazy.
so surprised that attack went through with 3 back row. So, what could they even be? Starlight Row for sure, because
100%.
he just set fucking he heavied because he had 4 back row. So he was like, I'm gonna play because he would never be able to play heavy at any other point in the game. Is basically what he said,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to agree with that. But like, did you draw e-call? You have 5. I mean, you play up to 5 Stratos, so I wouldn't be mad if he did draw it and just gets to like attack over my Ryko, and then we're in like a whole little. If he did not draw Stratos, though, I feel bad because like,
He's taking so long because I don't think they drew it.
yeah, I would imagine that if he did draw Stratos right here, it would have been slammed. Interesting.
Okay.
Oh my god, this hand. This hand is just getting so awful. Okay, so he set the monster because he sees Spirit Reaper on the field. So Spirit Reaper can go to defense. Ryko is going to go to defense as well. Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what could that monster possibly be that this deck was set? I can't think of a single thing besides another Honest, but I feel like even if he had Honest, no, if he had Honest, he would set it maybe because...
I think it's either an Honest or a Snowman Eater.
Oh shit, it could be Snowman Eater. So he didn't deprison me, which makes me believe he doesn't have deprison, I'm gonna be honest. So I kind of want to make
Right.
my Stardust an attack. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Could we have... Yeah, I'm never going to Black Rose this guy, but I just wanted to check. Okay. You're all for not pushing too hard. I think I kind of want... My hand is in a place where I can just like kind of play ignorant.
Yeah. At this point, yeah, definitely push. Okay.
So we already got Plague in the Grave, so to literally just send another Vayu, it looks like. We have
Yep.
so many. But I don't want to draw this, so.
No response to anything so far.
Yeah. So I could make Darken if I wanted to. I don't really... What's his life? He's at 68.
I don't think you need to right here.
This is 25. This is 42 plus 21, so he wouldn't die from Dark End. But then I have a Vayu in the grave, so I could make Dark End. Actually...
Oh. Have you played this deck before?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I may have.
Oh, okay. Oh, here comes Armor Master. Oh no.
So yeah, this would be for game.
All right. Everything in.
Okay. Yep, everything in.
Well.
Uh, All right. Yeah, he was like a dick in the beginning, but then he just like calmed down at the end. So yeah, I want to watch the replay.
Yeah, I was man. I guess he was. Was there a reason to set Grand Mole?
Well, Spirit Bird was on the field, so what could he have done? He could have. I don't think there's anything he could have done. We got to see when we get to that game. When we get to game 3, we have to check what his back rows were because I don't think we can get the full story right now. Just the way things played out, it's not making sense to me that he had 3 back rows that never got activated. So I just want to like sanity check what's going on here. Okay, so he opened up with Future Fusion and Stratos, which is like amazing, but he went second. And unfortunately, losing a die roll in this format literally means losing the game a good amount of the time. So his hand was broken. He has like a lot of the things you want. He actually had the Trinity. The Trinity being Stratos, a Diva, and a Miracle Fusion. This is the Trinity of Edison format. So he actually opened the Trinity, and he just went second, and it just isn't as good, especially when you attack into a hamster. But yeah, so we hit the deep prison, which actually was the only real one. And in fact, I thought this was one of the worst ones to hit.
Yeah. And then we hit another kind of real one. So we had, this entire time, we were thinking, oh, what could be back there?
Yeah.
Let alone we had no idea that they decided to set Miracle Fusion.
Yeah, I had no idea this was going to be a dead-ass card.
And they lost immediately.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is right there, we put Hamster in attack mode. And that put him at 4,500 life points, which made it where next turn he can't take that same number of attacks. We could put Ryko in defense, and it's a game because Greffer and Armwing is always 4,000, so it's easy to calculate that math. But then the extra 1,100 from the Hamster, because he's at 45, it would actually kill him. Whereas if we didn't attack with Hamster, his clock is actually extended a turn. So putting the Hamster in attack mode is actually a big deal for just like making it a guaranteed 2-turn clock. If the turn happens exactly the way it just did, where it all goes through.
Right. What did they set here?
Gem Spark. So this game was annoying because we actually opened up one of the best counters to his opening.
Yeah.
But we just got nickeled and dimed, which is what this deck does really well. It just nickels and dimes you, and it's crazy because he never summoned Stratos, I don't think, this game.
Nope.
And even though we got here with the Dust Tornado Deep Prison thing, like we definitely got because I just didn't know that this backer was going to be Gem Spark. But like, even if you read that, oh, it's Gem Spark and you only set 1 card, I don't think we're winning this game because we have an extra Dust Tornado. Like, I don't think that's the difference between us winning and losing this entire game.
Right. Yeah, it just keep getting and like you said, nickel and dime, and got to a point where we couldn't do anything with our remaining cards.
Yeah.
That was a clincher.
Yeah.
Starlight Road.
Yeah, once he did that, I was like, all right, I'm done.
Okay.
So it's exactly what I said. He just had 4 back row, and he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to heavy now because I won't get the heavy later. I think the real issue here is obviously his hand is pretty much a brick. It has no heroes in it, and he also played aggressively, which I don't really think... Like, if I'm being honest... It's so hard to play against Vayu Turbo though, but if I'm being honest, I don't know about this attack. No pun intended, because I keep saying if I'm being honest, but like, I don't know about attacking face down monsters when like, just the thought that it could be Hamster, you know that most Vayu decks play 2, and you also know that they're not siding that shit out against Hero Beat. Like, Hamster's staying in, right? So it's like, this is just absolute game. I guess you have to hope, oh, I just hope that it's a Ryko, and if it is not a Ryko, I'll lose, is kind of what he did. I guess it could also be a Vayu as well, and that would be fine. So if it's Vayu or Ryko, maybe the math supports this attack, actually. And he just got unlucky. Maybe the math supports this, because if it's Ryko and if it's a Vayu, you're fine. But if it's the Hamster, you just flat out lose, and sometimes you just have to take those gambles. So I take back what I said. That play was fine. Nova, you played well there. Okay, so this is unhinged because this attack was going through even if he had 4 back row.
Yes.
Like, like, um, like this attack was going through no matter what happened this game, and I find that to be absurd.
And if we opened MC Heavy Sword and we just sniped the Starlight Road,
Yeah, I don't even know.
oh, it got
So I said that this is one of those hands where you kill the person turn 2, and it's not turn 2, but it ain't that much further. But when Vayu draws an all monster hand, this is what it does, and this is what makes it one of the best decks in the entire format. This right here, the fact that this deck, I just fucking put so many monsters on the field, and they're all like crazy monsters out of nowhere. And there was really no risk of me doing this either. One, last turn I got to check what his back rows were. 2, me summoning Plague Spreader when I had like Ryko Hamster. I've already gotten advantage from every card in the field, right? Reaper took a card out of his hand. Hamster summoned Ryko. Ryko popped the card. So if he had Torrential right there, for some reason, even though I highly doubt he would because I summoned Reaper and I think he would have definitely Torrential the Reaper. But if he had Torrential when I summoned Plague Spreader Zombie, every card on my field has already gone +1. Like every single card. So it wouldn't even be a problem if that happened. And that is so strong how resilient like that this little lineup went of just Hamster, Ryko into Reaper and everything. And then he draws it.
True torrential.
Oh, that's so funny.
Wow.
That's so funny. Well, this was amazing. I think this whole session was really good. Thank you so much, OG, for stopping by the I Am There Podcast YouTube channel. Guys, please subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about Vayu Turbo. Let us know what you think about Gary's builds. So let's see. We have this is the EWC. Yeah, so this is the one we just played with the double main deck Compulse, the Duck Devastation Virus. This card is so good, and I think that so a True Hero was one of the first people I saw actually main decking it in his Diva Hero deck. And now you're, I think, the first Vayu Turbo player I saw main decking it. I don't really recall Vayu Turbo people main decking this. I mean, like, again, most people just play 10-foots, but I do like this a lot. It's a game-winning card. It's in this format, it is Crush card, right? Like this is a format where essentially this is a Crush card virus because a lot of the decks actually play low monsters in this format. Like low monsters facilitate everything in Edison.
Right. And Vayu Turbo is the best deck devastation deck. And if you open that together with deck if you open that combo with deck devi, it's hand information, just ripping a bunch of cards. It's just so crucial. On top of like being Trap Dushu. If you open Trap Dushu and deck devi together, the game's over.
Yep. No, I agree. All right, well, we are going to get out of here, guys. I will catch you in the next one. OG, congrats again on both of your tops. And yeah, I hope to have you back on the channel at some point.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, please subscribe.
Oh, thank you. All right, we're out.